A while ago, we started talking about what we call slope-intercept form. And slope-intercept form looked like this when it was y equals mx plus b. And we said there's two things you have to have for slope-intercept form. You have to have the slope, and we know the slope is the m, and the m always sits in front of the x. And then we had to have the intercept, and the intercept was this ending number. It's our beginning point. It's where we begin the graph. So if we had the equation y equals 1 over 4x minus 1, we wanted to graph this because there's two variables in the problem. So we know that the answer has to be on a grid. So if we graph this, we know our beginning point, which is the b, our intercept, is going to start at -1. We're going to begin down here at -1. So go down to -1, I put a dot. And then my movement is my slope, and that's the m in front of the x. So my movement tells me to rise up 1 and go right 4 from my beginning point. So if I put my pencil back on my beginning point, my slope tells me to rise up 1 and go right 4 times. So count up 1 and then right 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. I put another dot. I send a line through those. And that is the graph of this equation. And we graphed this because we said that all the points located along this line are the solutions to the problem. Okay? Today we're going to go backwards. If I give you the slope, so if I tell you the slope is 2, and I say the intercept is 5, can you write that into the equation? Can you write this into slope-intercept form? Well, we know the equation, once again, is y equals mx plus b. So all you need to do is simply plug in the b for where it goes, and plug in the m for where it goes. So our equation turns out to be y equals not m, but we know m this time is 2. So y equals 2. Don't forget your x. That's where some kids will forget to put the x there. So y equals 2x plus b, but b is now 5, so plus 5. So that's the equation. That's our answer. That's all you're doing. If I give you the slope and I give you the intercept, can you write it into slope-intercept form? Y equals 2x plus 5. Now stay with me. There are some tricky ones. Don't want to get you confused. So if we jump down here and I tell you that the slope is a fraction, let's say 1 over 2, and I tell you your intercept this time is 4. Okay, I want to write this into slope-intercept form. So y equals mx plus b. This time as I write it, y equals not m, but my m is 1 over 2. Don't forget your x, get it in there. Y equals 1 over 2x, and then plus 4. There is your answer. You should still have a y equals and an x in every answer. Do not forget those. Y equals 1/2 x plus 4. Okay? If I give you this situation, if I said you had m equals 2/3 and b equals -1. Okay, watch on this one, be careful. So y equals mx plus b. Y equals not m, but m, yes, is 2/3, so 2/3 x. And then b this time is a -1. So it says plus b, but it's -1, so just put -1. Okay, y equals 2/3 x minus 1. You don't need to say y equals 2/3 x plus, -1. Okay, you don't need this double sign here. Don't do that. Just y equals 2/3 x minus 1. Okay, so I want you to try one real quick. So your slope is 5 and your b is -6. Write that into slope-intercept form real quick. Okay, so hopefully you have y equals mx plus b. For your solution, you should go y equals m is 5, 5x, and b minus 6. So y equals 5x minus 6 is your final answer. Okay, look at this situation. Get to a new paper. Let's say we have something like this. If I say your slope is -4, and I actually put the y-intercept, and I write like that. Let's the camera get all unblurred. There we go. So if I say m equals -4 and your y-intercept is 3. So just another way, I don't need to say b, I can say your y-intercept is this. You still do the same thing, y equals mx plus b. This is your m. Your intercept is still, of course, your b. So y equals -4x plus 3. And that's your answer. Okay, one more. So what happens if I go m equals 2/5, and I say your b, or your y-intercept, however you want to look at it, and I say that's 0. How would you write this in the slope-intercept? Y equals mx plus b. Y equals m 2/5 x plus 0. Do I write that? You technically could, that would be okay, but hopefully you've been learning over the last couple days, right, that we don't need this plus 0. If we just say y equals 2/5 x, we should know what that means, right? It starts at 0, and then our slope tells us to go up 2, right, 5. So we don't need to say plus 0 at the end, just that. Okay. Alright, now could we also go, if I give you the graph picture? So if I give you the graph picture, could you write the equation for it? So before, we would give you the equation and you had to graph it. But now, you're going to get the picture, and I want you to put this in the form of y equals mx plus b. Okay, so what do we do here? So the b, I think, is the easiest thing to find. We know the b is going to be our beginning point. So if we look at our graph, it starts right here at a positive 1. So we know the b is at a positive 1. But we still have to go back and find our movement. What's our slope telling us to do? So from here, we know it's starting at 1. And then if I have this other dot right here, what's my movement telling me to do? We went up 1 time, so a rise of 1. And then we went right 1, 2 times. So our slope is 1/2. So if we put that into our equation, y equals 1/2 x plus 1. There's the answer. Okay. So if we look at this one here, we need to put this in the form of y equals mx plus b. We need to be able to pull out the b and our movement, our m. So our b, we're going to start at -2 this time. But what's my movement telling me to do? So if I started here, I can see up here's another corner, another dot. So I went what? I went up 1, 2, and if I rise, that's positive, positive 2, and then I went to the left. I went left -1. Left is negative movement. So my slope here is 2/-1, or really just a -2 if you clean that up. So the m is -2. So our final answer, our equation, would turn out to be y equals -2x and then also minus 2 there as well. Okay? So let's look at what happens on this situation. So y equals mx plus b. Our beginning point this time, we started right in the center, which is 0. So our b is at 0. And then our movement, here's our other dot clear out here. So if we started from here, we went up 1, and we went right 1, 2, 3 times. So our slope is 1 over 3. So this equation turns out to be y equals 1/3 x, and it's like the one we just did. I don't need to say plus 0. I can just say y equals 1/3 x is my answer. Okay? I want you guys to try this last one we have right over here if we can get out of the shadow. So y equals mx plus b. Find what your beginning point is, then find what your movement is. And where do we start? And what's the movement? And then write it into the equation. Okay, our beginning point is down here at -1. And then our movement, our slope, we went down 1, so that's -1. And then we went right 1. So rise -1, run 1, or just -1. So slope was -1. So the equation for this one is y equals -1x minus 1. Or you could just say y equals -x minus 1. Either one of those two answers would work. Okay, from here, finish your assignments. If you need help, you'll need to come in before or after school and see me.